Hey everybody, I'm Terri Libenson, author of the Emmy and Friends series, and I am so pleased to be able to read this excerpt from my upcoming sixth book in the series called Remarkably Ruby. Ready? Here we go. Prologue, Ruby. I'm not what you would call a people person. Circle the thing that doesn't belong. Hi, hi, hey, hi, uh, It's not that I don't try, I do. But most of the time, making friends in middle school is a huge chore. I don't have the greatest social skills. I like how your sweater matches that zit. I also don't have a lot in common with the kids around here. Most of them are into things I'm not, like dances, social media, and sports. Me? Scribble, scritch, cartoons, caramel corn, better social skills with succulents. Back in grade school, it was another story. There were a couple kids I was close to, and yep, they were also a little different, which helped. But one moved away in fifth grade, and since I didn't get a phone until this year, we didn't really stay in touch. Our pen pal agreement was one-sided. And the other, well, we had a falling out. I'll get to that later. In the meantime, it's just me, myself, and I. Deja vu. I'm mostly okay with it. People don't pick on me or anything. They leave me alone. Helps that I'm the same height as some of my teachers. Besides, my mom says that the most important thing is to be a strong, independent person. So that's what I'm attempting to do. And I think I'm succeeding. Got the independent part nailed. On the outside, anyway. Ruby. It all began in fourth grade. That's when I shot up. And by shot up, I mean grew to the size of our money tree. Both have braids and tall trunks. I love that tree. It's supposed to bring good fortune. I'm still waiting on that. My mom keeps it in the corner of the living room near a window so that it thrives. If your house is older, you probably have a formal living room, which in our house never gets used except at midnight when our cat gets the zoomies. Mrar! Translation, wee! We have a ton of plants in that living room. Our cat Buford likes to hide behind them. He probably imagines he's a jungle tiger ready to pounce. Prey. I'm in charge of watering the plants. That's my main chore, and I'm good at it. Happy, healthy plants. I find it kind of funny that when a plant gets nice and big, it's robust and thriving. But when I did, 105th percentile, self-conscious, sticks out. It makes my aloneness more noticeable. Hard not to notice a tree among shrubs. Speaking of alone, right now I'm in the restroom at school by myself. It's early, right before homeroom. My stomach is kind of bugging me. That happens sometimes. I've been to the doctor. She calls it a nervous stomach, which is a nice way of saying what I really have. IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or as I call it, irritating bathroom struggles. I've heard some kids call me baked bean girl, which is another way of putting it. It's because I once had to rush to the restroom after a lunch of, well, you get the idea. I told my mom, who thought it was funny and wanted to make me a t-shirt. Notorious BBG. I didn't think it was that funny. Anyway, I deal with it. I've stopped announcing my latest meals anyway, and I've stopped eating stuff on the doctor's do not ingest list, like move, spicy breakfast burrito. I leave the stall and try and find an open sink. It's not easy. This is the busiest restroom time other than after lunch. It really bugs me that girls come in and hog the sinks to put on makeup and brush their hair and stuff when there are people who actually need to wash up. It's not like they can't get ready at their lockers. Full-length mirrors, vanity lights, pencil/lip gloss holder. Oops, bump. Sorry, it's so crowded. Yeah. I like your shirt. Uh, Thanks. I'm into hearts too. I once knitted a sweater with a tiny heart pattern. I don't know what to say to that. Sarah Reyes is really nice, one of the nicer kids in my grade, but it's not like I know anything about making clothes. Well, see ya. Bye. I finally think of something to say. Heart's her tool. She looks confused, smiles awkwardly, and leaves. I meant to say hearts are totally cool. Ugh. I finally find a sink. A girl makes room, looking a little scared of me. Being bigger than most kids sometimes has that effect on people, mainly sixth graders who don't know me. Doesn't help that I've accidentally knocked a few of them down. I leave the restroom and head to homeroom. Mrs. Wynne, my favorite teacher, English, is walking in my direction, wondering if she's waving to someone behind me. Hi, Ruby. Oh, hey, Mrs. Wynne. I've been meaning to ask, would it be okay to publish your student showcase poem in the Lakefront Opus? That's the school's art and literary magazine. Mrs. Wynne always asks me and a bunch of other kids to submit. Other kids. A few months ago, Mrs. Wynne encouraged me to enter my poem, an English assignment, in the student showcase. That's a big event around here. Kids show off their history and science projects, stories, and artwork. There's a contest for each category. And guess what? Poetry showcase. Yep, I won the poetry contest. I was totally shocked. I didn't even want to enter in the first place. Please, 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 please. Okay. The thing is, I don't like attention. It just makes, well, me, that much more obvious to everyone. But now I'm glad she entered it, because it made me want to write even more. My journal, almost filled up. I write all the time now. I mean, I always wrote in my journal and stuff, but then I started turning some of those journal entries into actual things. Short stories, poetry, badly illustrated poetry. Usually they're about feelings, but sometimes they're also about little things I notice. Things a lot of people don't pay attention to. When you're alone a lot, that's what happens. Like shoelaces. You can tell a lot about a person by how they tie their shoes. Double knot, fancy schmancy, the usual, the forgotten. I once wrote an entire poem comparing people to shoelaces using what Mrs. Wynne calls similes, comparing different things using like or as. As for the showcase poem, I wrote that about making patterns with my fingers on my fogged up kitchen window in the morning. I really do that. It kind of calms me. And as my nervous stomach knows, I could use some calming. Uh, sure. Great, Ruby. That poem will be perfect for the magazine. She leaves and I head for homeroom. Hey, hey. I feel my stomach act up again, but I ignore it. I walk into homeroom and sit at my usual desk in the second to last row. Lindsay Donsky and Kyle Duncan sit in front of me and secretly text each other, as usual. Quiet girl, Emmy Douglas sketches away in her notebook. She quickly holds it up to show her best friend Brianna, who sits across the room. I can't see the drawing, but Brianna giggles and gives her a thumbs up. Sometimes I pretend I'm like them. Poem. But this time I don't. Instead, I take out my social studies notebook so I can finish an assignment, and I tell myself the same thing that I do every morning at this time. Let's get this day over with. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I loved writing Remarkably Ruby. It was one of my favorite books to write. The story poured out of me. I think you're going to be excited, especially about the ending. Not to give anything away, but it comes out May 3rd, 2022. And that's it. I hope you enjoy it. Go get it. Go buy it. Happy reading, everybody.